Bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue aux séances extraordinaires du Conseil municipal de la ville de Westmount pour le 17 janvier 2022. Welcome everybody to the extraordinary meeting, the special meeting of council for the city of Westmount for Monday, January 17th, 2022. We will have our regular council meeting at 7:30, but this council meeting is to table the budget and to vote on the budget. So I just want to thank all members of council who have contributed greatly to this process. And it's always challenging in an election year because there's a lot to get done between November and December in terms of the budget. So I want to thank especially also the members of the Finance and Administration Committee, which is Councillor D'Amico, Councillor Peart, Councillor Kez, and myself, and Councillor Shami, who chairs that committee, and the administration for all of their hard work on this. And so now I will hand it over to Councillor D'Amico as our Finance Commissioner, and as his first, his first major item of business as finance commissioner is obviously the budget. So we saw in December that we passed the capital works budget, and now this is the overall operating budget for the city. So I will hand it over to Councillor D'Amico, and at the end, if there are questions, we will take them then, but they have to pertain to the budget. So or first we need to adopt the agenda, excuse me. So item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Yes. Councillor Shami.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and Happy New Year. I move that the agenda of the special council sitting of the 17th of January, 2022 be adopted.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shami. Do I have a seconder on that motion? Councillor Kez, thank you. And now we have question period, but it would have to, it seems strange to have a question period before we have the details of the budget, but it's in the agenda. So we will move with a question period, but that has to pertain to the budget. Not seeing any questions or hands raised. Okay, so now I will now hand it over to Councillor D'Amico to present the budget for the 2022 fiscal year. Councillor D'Amico.
Merci, thank you. Bonsoir, Madame la Mairesse, chers membres du Conseil, Mesdames et Messieurs. J'ai le plaisir de vous présenter les détails du budget d'opération de la Ville pour l'année 2022. Les objectifs de notre Conseil sont les suivants. Limit the increase in taxation while maintaining the best possible services for our residents. Continue to remain up to date with technology in order to improve the efficiency of our operations. Continue the current revenue strategy of looking for sources of income other than property taxes. Continue to invest in our infrastructures. Incur no new debt as well. Continue to add value to our parks and green spaces. Continue our investment in urban planning to improve its customer experience and develop a new urban plan for the city. And finally, to initiate actions to report on the city's efforts to adapt to climate change. This budget process has not been without its challenges. The current situation with COVID-19 still presents and brings its share of uncertainties for the coming year. We also have to deal with an increase in our share of the agglomeration by 6.3 million, which is an increase of 10.4%. Notre objectif pour 2022 a été de limiter l'augmentation de la taxe foncière pour une résidence unifamiliale moyenne à un montant raisonnable. Beaucoup de rencontres, d'efforts et de créativité de la part de tous ont été déployés pour en arriver à contenir l'augmentation de la taxe foncière. As a result, the tax bill increase for the average single dwelling in Westmount is only 3.75%, which is below the inflation of 4%. Here are the highlights of the 2022 budget. Council remains committed to its pay-as-you-go policy for funding capital works rather than relying on borrowing. The 2022 capital works budget of 26.5 million, which this council approved on December 20, 2021, will be financed as follows. 11.3 million will come from taxation revenues, 11.9 million from accumulated appropriated surplus, and 3.3 million from government grants. 2, Council has asked the administration to continue maximizing the use of grants and to examine sources of revenue other than property taxes in order to offset operating and capital expenses. All the tariffs were reviewed and updated in the fall of 2021. Third, Council has decided to increase the funds for maintaining parks and green spaces. And finally, again, Council remains committed to paying off debt as it becomes due in 2022. There will be no capital payment of the debt. Nous sommes tous préoccupés par la gestion de l'élimination des matières résiduelles et la collecte sélective des matières recyclables. Benefiting from the program on the redistribution, sorry. Sorry about that interruption. Benefiting about the program on the distribution to municipalities of revenues for the disposal of residual materials from the Ministry of the Environment and the fight against climate change, the city received a grant of $315,000 from the program in 2021. Also, the city subscribed to the compensation plan for provided municipal services to ensure the recovery and reclamation of residual materials, and as a result, we received a grant of $266,300 in 2021. From a larger perspective, in 2022, we will begin in collaboration with the administration the possibility to set up a green accounting process or environmental accounting. The 2022 total expenses budget excluding Hydro Westmount. Total expenditures after appropriation has increased by 4.3 million, which is an increase of 3.7%. Our share in the agglomeration represents an increase of 6.3 million, which explains the important increase in total expenditures. The 2022 Westmount local expenditures, excluding Hydro Westmount, due to the many efforts, we were able to reduce local expenses by $2.99 million, which is a decrease of 4.4%. The significant variations come from capital expenditures, the pay-as-you-go, 3.58 million, remuneration up 1.32 million, and the change in provisions down 740,000. The so-called operational and controllable expenses are also closely scrutinized. They are overall at the same level as last year with an increase of 31,700, which is plus 0.2%. Debt management. As of December 31st, 2021, Westmount's outstanding debt hasn't changed since December 31st, 2019 at 9.3 million. The balance will be due to mature in 2023. Therefore, there is no principal repayment in 2022. The municipal debt service of 304,000 is only for the payment of interest in 2022. 2022 municipal taxation and local revenues. As required by law, a municipal budget must be balanced. Total revenues required to match the 2022 municipal expenses, excluding Hydro Westmount, will be 120.5 million. Of this amount, local revenues from sources other than taxation in lieu of taxes and Hydro Westmount revenues will total 19.9 million. Significant non-tax revenue items include $5 million from parking meters and permits, and for taxes and fines, 8.5 million for duties on transfers, 1.3 million for recreational activities, and 2 million for governmental transfers. The in lieu of taxes to be received from the federal and provincial governments is 3.2 million. Taxation revenues in 2022 will total 97.7 million. 2022 taxation rates. In 2022, the municipal tax rates per $100 evaluation will be for residential properties containing 5 housing units or less, 0.7459, for apartment buildings with 6 or more units, 0.7558, and for non-residential properties, 2.9659. I wish to stress that this example, the value of the average single-family dwelling in 2022 will be $1,964,958, with a 2022 residential mill rate of 0.7459. The tax bill of the average single-family dwelling will be $14,656 as compared to $14,126 in 2021, which represents an increase of 3.75%. I wish to stress that this example reflects the impact of the taxation rates on the average single-family dwelling. Tax bill adjustments will vary depending upon the change in valuation of each individual property. Tax bills will be mailed by the end of January. Payment can be made in 2 installments, the first due on February 25, 2022, and the second on May 27, 2022. An interest rate of 9% per annum will be charged on the unpaid balance. A penalty of 0.5% per month on the outstanding principal will also be charged to a maximum of 5% over and above the interest charges. In tabling the 2022 Westmount operating budget for Council's approval, I wish to emphasize our focus on being responsible and living within our means, while taking the necessary steps to ensure Westmounters continue to benefit from first-rate services and programs. Merci.
Thank you very much, Councillor D'Amico, for all the details in there. And the budget will be tabled shortly on our website if residents are looking for further details on all of the details on the budget. So thank you for that. And as you said, and as you discussed, our local tax, the expenses locally, so for the city of Westmount, we have worked very hard to make sure that we keep those down. And really the significant news in this is the huge increase from the agglomeration from the city of Montreal, largely due to expenses from COVID, a lot of expenses around public security, obviously. And we have been told that this is a 1 year, that this is a 1 year increase, and that we shouldn't see increases like this, but rarely do we ever see taxes go down. So we certainly, it highlights again the importance of the work that we do at the agglomeration to really try and keep our costs and our expenses from the agglomeration within a reasonable range, where I think a lot of people would find a 10% increase to be in the unreasonable category. So thank you for all the details, Councillor D'Amico. Does anyone else have anything else they want to comment on this? It's pretty thorough what was in Councillor D'Amico's speech. So if not, then we will move towards to item number 5, numéro 5, l'adoption du budget pour l'exercice financier 2022. Encore le conseiller D'Amico. You are still on mute. Are you able to, Patty, are you able to, or Mr. Hakeem, can you unmute?
Maybe Councillor D'Amico log off and log back on.
I don't know if we want to do that.
No. Madame Sadi, est-ce que c'est vous l'hôte de la réunion?
Oui, je lui ai demandé de se unmute. Voilà.
Sorry, I'm having a problem. The link, the file did not come up on my screen. Sorry about this.
Do you want me to hand it to
yes, please. Yes.
Councillor Shammy to move?
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Shammy, are you able to move item number 5?
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, whereas in accordance with the first paragraph of Section 474 in Fine of the Cities and Towns Act, during a year in which a general election is held in the municipality between November 15th and January 31st of the following year, Council shall prepare and adopt the budget of the municipality for the next fiscal year and provide therein for revenues and at least equal to the expenditures provided for therein. I move that the City of Westmount's operating budget for the fiscal year 2022 attached hereto, providing for balanced revenues and expenditures in the amount of $118,579,500 be adopted. And that, Madam Mayor, that the appropriations of $14,970,100 from the accumulated surplus provided for in the said 2022 budget attached hereto be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Shammy. On behalf of Councillor D'Amico, do I have a seconder on this? I'm sure Councillor Kez would like to be the seconder on this. Thank you. Any further comments? I think it was captured in Councillor D'Amico's speech with all the details of the budget. So I will leave it at that. Okay, and also all in favor of the budget for the City of Westmount for 2022? Unanimous, thank you. Now we have, it doesn't say in the agenda that there is a second question period. I'm assuming that there is a second question period after this, or is there not? Yes, there is. Okay, thank you. So now we move to the second question period. If there are any questions, there is a Q&A button there, and if not, we will adjourn this meeting and we will wait till 7:30 to start the second meeting of our regular council meeting. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions in there in the Q&A section. So with that, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you again to members of council who worked on this, but as well as the administration who worked extremely hard on this budget this year. So the meeting is adjourned. We will be back at 7:30.